I wish I was a little bit taller. I wish I was a baller. I wish I had...
Hi beautiful, welcome to High Vibe Honey. I am your host, Gala Darling, and this episode of High Vibe Honey is about how to find your passion. I get asked this all the time. This is the thing that people say, like, I don't know what my passion is. I don't know what my mission is. What should I be doing with my life? I don't even know where to begin. And I have some really helpful tips for you that I hope will bring a whole new perspective to this idea of figuring out what your passion is. Now, this might blow your mind, but I want to tell you something. Your passion is just something that you enjoy. That's it. It doesn't have to be this big existential question. Your passions are all around you. It's what you do in your free time. It's what you do when you finish work. It's what you do when you have some time off. That stuff is your passion. And a lot of us have this idea that your passion has to be your career. They have to be intertwined, right? If you're not making money from it, it doesn't count as your passion. That is not necessarily the case. But I want you to just think of that, because sometimes the idea of turning your passion into your work is not that much fun. Sometimes it's better to keep your passion as something that you just do for fun when you feel like it and take money making out of the equation. There is a difference between being a great chef and opening a restaurant. They are totally different skills. If you're a great chef, you may have no idea how to make money out of that. And here's what is so shocking. That's okay. You don't have to make money out of your passion. All that you have to do with your passion, the only thing it requires of you, is for you to pay some attention to it and flow your energy there when it feels good to do so. You do not need to know what it is and how to make money from it immediately or even ever. And you also don't have to commit your life to working on your passion as a way of making ends meet. For a lot of people, when they try to do that, it takes all of the fun out of it. Not everybody needs to make their passion their career or even their identity. It can be just something that you do when you have the time to do it, something that brings you joy, and something that is kind of hands off. It doesn't have to be the way that you earn your rent or pay your bills. That can be a really quick way to make your passion not so passionate anymore. Now, some people will say, haha, my passion is watching videos on YouTube. And like, yes, that's like a quick, easy answer, right? But I want you to be the investigator of your passions and not just go for a quick, cheap laugh, right? So if you love watching videos on YouTube, and hey, who doesn't? I want you to pay attention to what are the common threads there. Is there a certain type of story, a certain type of person, a certain topic, a certain way of thinking that really excites you? What is it about these things that it has in common? Nobody watches everything on YouTube and is equally interested in all of it. What is it that you like? What is it that you follow on Instagram? What kind of movies or documentaries do you seek out? What books do you read? That stuff holds the key to the things that you're really passionate about. Your passions are all around you, and all you need to do is pay attention. So I have been working on my passions ever since I learned how to hold a pencil and print letters as a teeny tiny little girl. And I'm really fortunate that my passion and my career are the same thing. But this is not necessarily something that you need to aspire to. It just isn't. I really want to encourage you to take the pressure off yourself in that way. It's the fastest way to feel burnt out and exhausted, is to be like, I have to figure out what my passion is and then I have to figure out how to make money from it. It just doesn't work like that. I've been practicing my passions since I was teeny tiny. So it started with me sitting at the kitchen bench in my parents' house writing short stories. And I would draw a front cover and a back cover, and I would staple it together, and I would draw a barcode on the back of that motherfucker because I was serious about my shit. And then I evolved to making magazines in Microsoft Publisher and printing them out and like putting them under people's windshield wipers at the mall. Did they care about my magazine by a 10-year-old girl? No, they did not, but I didn't care. I was making it and I was feeling good. And then when I was 13, I got an internet connection for Christmas. And then I started to learn how to hand code HTML web pages, and I was oversharing my really bad poetry and making websites and online journaling from 1997 onwards. I don't know, my math's not that great. I don't know how many years it is, but it's a lot of years. And then even when I had a job, I worked like terrible, like retail jobs. I worked in call centers. I worked in offices. But in my spare time, I was practicing my passions because I loved them so much that I couldn't help myself. In fact, I used to work at New Zealand Post. I don't even remember what my job was. I think I had to organize contracts for stores or something. It was so boring, but I had a private office, which was really great. And I used the internet so much at that job, posting on LiveJournal and sharing about my life, that they cut off my internet connection. I used more internet time than anyone in that company, and it was a company of 30,000 people. That is how passionate I was about fucking LiveJournal. So, all this to say, your passions are obvious. They are the things that you do all the time. And maybe you just haven't like refined it yet, but I want you to start paying attention to the things that really get you going if this is something that you want to figure out for yourself. Even when I was working retail jobs, I would go to work and actually didn't hate my retail job. I worked at a Lush cosmetics store as a store manager, and it was fun, and we would play the Grease soundtrack and we would sing along, and we had choreographed dance moves, and I developed an appreciation for Avril Lavigne while I was there because we played her album all the time. I think I probably still know the whole thing by heart. But when I was done with that, and like I said, I didn't hate it. I actually quite enjoyed my job. When I went home, I would grab my laptop and I would write short stories about my life. That was what I did. I was obsessed. And I know in your own life, you can think of examples of you would come home from work or school and you would dive straight into whatever it is that you love to do, baking or skateboarding or gossiping with your friends. There's something that you love to do. And I really want you to just start paying attention to how you're spending your free time over the next week or so you can get really clear about it. And I also believe there's a lot of clarity to be found in looking at what you love to do as a child. The story I just told you about, writing short stories and Microsoft Publisher and HTML websites, that was my childhood. That was how I made myself feel good as a little girl, was creating stuff and being in my own world and creating this universe of my own. That's what I love to do. And I know that when you were little, there were things that you loved to do too. So I want you to think back on those things and really mine that for information, because it holds a major key, as DJ Khaled would say, as to what you really love and what you're really passionate about. So all of those times that I was, writing journal entries or getting banned from the internet at my job, that was just me practicing it. And here's the thing, I did that stuff for free because I loved it so much. And I would still do it for free today. In fact, there's a lot of my job that I do for free. High Vibe Honey is free. It's actually not free. It costs me money. I got to pay to have it filmed and edited, but I do it for free, or in a deficit actually, because I love to do it. And this is really what passion is about. It's about loving it so much that it bursts out of your body. You literally cannot stop yourself from doing it. It's something that you love that much. And I know that there is something in you or something that you love to do that makes you feel that way. We all have that. We're all born with it. And it might be that you have repressed it or pushed it down for a long time because you can't figure out how to make money out of it, or you can't figure out how to do it in a socially acceptable way. Maybe it's something that's different than the people around you are into, or they don't understand it, or they don't accept it. That's okay. It's still your passion, and you can deny it all you want, but it's still there, and it is aching for you to pay attention to it. Because when we pour ourselves into the things we love, when we put our energy into them and we put our focus on them and we make them even bigger and better, there is literally nothing that feels more satisfying. And you don't have to make money out of that thing for it to feel really good and satisfying. Like I said, I don't make money out of High Vibe Honey, but I feel so satisfied doing it. I feel so satisfied getting on the live chat on YouTube at 9 a.m. on a Sunday morning and chatting with you all while you watch this and we do the tapping together. It makes me feel so good. It makes me feel fulfilled because it's one of my passions. And even though I was doing it for free back then and I was practicing it, I'm still practicing it today, right? It's always evolving, it's always changing. And even today, you know, I look at the things I'm doing, which thankfully I'm really grateful to be in a position where all the things I do are things that I love. But even then I'm refining them and I'm looking at like, what's the part of this that I don't enjoy doing? Okay, I don't enjoy filming stuff with a camera physically. I don't enjoy editing. So how can I take that out of the equation so I can just stay in my zone of genius and do the thing I really love to do? That's so important. So once you know what your passion is, I want you to get clearer and clearer about it and take out the stuff that like you don't love to do that you could delegate, you could farm out. Madeline, who's filming this to me right now, who I love dearly, loves to film shit. And she's an amazing editor. Like her filming, lighting, sound, blah, blah. That is her zone of genius. She is the fucking queen at it. And actually, I would be depriving her if I insisted on doing it in my like hackneyed way where I'm like, I don't know, jerry-rigging some shit together and like praying that it works. Like, no, she does that because she's amazing at it. And so if there's something you're passionate about, I want you to think, who do you know that loves the stuff about it that you don't love? And why don't you work with them so you guys can have a stronger thing together? You do not have to do everything on your own. And honestly, trying to do everything on your own is the fastest road to burning out and being over it and being like, fuck this, and kicking the dog or whatever. So, you know, let other people into your passion. Don't make it just a super solo thing if you can help it. Everything is strengthened when you allow other people in who have their own genius that they can contribute. So when it comes to finding your passion, here's the really simple formula. Find something that you enjoy. Do it again. Do it again. And then have another moment of enjoyment. That's literally it. It's so simple. We make this stuff so complicated. We're like, this is my existential crisis. I don't know what my passion is. Bitch, you're doing what you love all the time. Stop telling yourself a story that you don't know because you actually do. The whole goal is to make it fun. So if you could do anything right now that would be fun, what would you do? That's a huge clue as to what your passion is. So don't deny that. Don't repress it. Don't pretend you don't know because you do know. And it's time to step into that and own that. You know what you want to do. So why the fuck aren't you doing it? It's time to start doing it. Now, if you're watching this and you're feeling really lost and really stuck and you're working a job you hate and you don't know how to find fulfillment in your life and you're feeling really bad about things, I also want you to remember that everything that you try that you don't enjoy is just another piece of data that is getting you clarity and moving you closer to what you like. I've had, for example, I've been in lots of relationships that like were not what I wanted. It wasn't a fit. It was painful, or it didn't feel comfortable, or like we didn't have anything to talk about, or it just wasn't right. That's all data that moves me closer to a relationship that I really want to be in. And you can't know what you really want until you experience a little bit of that stuff that you really don't want. Everyone that you know who is passionate about something, who excels in a field, has had moments of their life where they did shit that was not that thing they're passionate about. And it helped them have more love for the thing they really are into. It helped them see how good it is when they get to do what they love. It helped fuel their desire to do more of it. So remember that everything in your life is bringing you greater clarity. Every time you're in a situation that you don't like, or you're working a job you hate, or you're feeling stuck, or you're feeling not good enough, it's all information that you can use to move yourself closer to what's working, as long as you focus on what you want and not what you don't want. So you're always creating more clarity in your life. But just to make things simple, let's do a tapping session together to help us get clear about our passion, to reinvigorate our passion for our passion, and get some clarity around what we should do next. So, repeat after me and let's start on the top of the head. I want to find my passion. But sometimes I'm confused about what that is. Sometimes I feel lost and stuck. Like, I don't even know what I like. But I know that's not actually true. I know that's just a story I'm telling myself. And I know that I can choose to tell myself a much more empowering story whenever I damn well please. So even though I've been telling myself that I don't know what my passion is, I deeply and completely love and accept and forgive myself for all those times where I was in a panic. I don't know what my passion is. I'm having an existential crisis. I don't know what I like. And for all the times that I tied myself in knots, trying to figure it out, when the reality is, my passions are all around me. They are staring me in the face. Maybe I just wasn't paying attention. Or maybe I've been making it too complicated by telling myself that my passion doesn't count unless I'm making money from it. This is simply not true. Gala worked on her passion for 20 years before she started making any money from it. And she did it because she loved it. And I know that if I put my energy into what I love, then that is enough. It is enough for me to just feel good about what I love. So even though this has been confusing for me, today I am seeking greater clarity. And allowing my passions to become really clear to me, so that I can embrace them and practice them and feel really good about them. And I can let it be easy. And so it is. Okay, take a deep breath in, hold it at the top, and let it go. Now, I would love to hear what your passion is, because I have this feeling that as you were doing that tapping, something came to you, and it was clear what it is you really love to do. And I want you to write that down in the comments box below and tell us, what's the thing that you really, really love? Taking out the idea of being able to make money from it or needing to make money from it or anything like that. Tell us what you love to do with your time. And like I said earlier in the video, be an investigator. Think about the threads that tie all these things together. What is the commonality between them? We would love to hear. Please go through and like everybody else's comment too, so they feel really supported. And I will see you back here next week for another High Vibe Honey.